Welcome to Kirky Cars. This channel is dedicated to electrified vehicles. Toyota has brought me out to Southern California to drive the all-new Prius, so stay tuned for those driving impressions. I'll have some of it on my main channel. I'll have pretty much the breakdown of pricing and grades and more of that nature on this second channel, more of the fine detail sort of things. Let's get into the breaking news coming out of Europe about Toyota's electrification strategy. Toyota Motor Europe on track to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040. Now they're previewing quite a few vehicles at this big reveal. The new CHR, I have a whole video dedicated to it on my main channel. Here's the general design of it though. It's very aggressive, especially the front end. I mean, super futuristic with the tri-tone paint colors, large wheels. I think this is the best angle of the new CHR. It's definitely going to turn heads, and I think Toyota will succeed and definitely entering the minds of potential buyers. It'll also have a new plug-in hybrid system. I wouldn't be surprised if it's any different than the Toyota Prime, so the plug-in hybrid, 220 horsepower, but it might also have all-wheel drive, which the Prius does not have in the plug-in hybrid variant. We'll probably hear more about this vehicle mid-2023. We're supposed to see this vehicle hit Europe by the end of 2023. They also showed off the BZ compact SUV. I was lucky enough to sample this concept in LA before the LA Auto Show. Absolutely stunning. It is a gorgeous vehicle. We thought that this general design was going to be the next CHR, but instead the CHR is going to be quite a bit smaller than this. This is almost like the Toyota. If you imagine a Toyota Venza, maybe they slam it, make it more futuristic, and they make it fully battery electric. That's probably the best way to put this vehicle into perspective. I love the bendy OLED screens in there. It's really, really cool to get my hands on it. Now, we don't know when this model is coming out in Europe, the BZ compact SUV. It could be by late 2023 or it could be later. Now, Toyota is currently in flux with its skateboard battery electric vehicle platform. They're currently modifying the ETNGA, well, they're currently modifying the TNGA platform for the ETNGA platform, and that's what underpins the BZ4X. But BZ4X has had a really rough start. It's missing its range in many parts of the world after tests, and it's also been recalled. Now it's back on the market. So they really need a new direction with their electric vehicles, and I think that's why they don't have a date for this BZ compact SUV, because it could be on a whole new skateboard platform, and it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. Make sure you stay tuned for this channel, because we're going to hear a lot of new things about this new platform coming from Toyota and their new electrification plans. But they are planning to introduce 6 BZ models in Europe by 2026. In America, we just have the BZ4X. Nothing else has been announced. There's the large 3-row crossover that could come next. I guess that would be the BZ5X. The BZ3 is out in China as a sedan. This thing would be probably the BZ3X would be my guess when it makes it to the market. Europe will probably get a fully electric version of the CHR that we just previewed. The last big splash Toyota had here was a prototype Corolla Cross hydrogen concept. It uses a 1.6 liter turbo, essentially that the GR Corolla uses, and they're fueling it with hydrogen, and they're keeping the 6-speed manual in it. So, I mean, this thing would be amazing to have on the market to give gearheads something to look forward to and a clean future. Toyota says this thing's about 40% of the way to the market. I think the issue is going to be having enough hydrogen fuel tanks would be my guess for this vehicle. I don't know if it uses quite the same volume of tanks, let's say, as the Mirai. I would highly doubt it, but it would probably need to. It's not going to be nearly as efficient as a Mirai, so it needs to have big tanks in it. But let's get back to the main press release. What is Toyota's re-envision here of their electrified future by 2040? Now, we mentioned the CHR plug-in hybrid. Those battery packs will be assembled in Europe. Toyota has an electrified city in Japan called Woven Planet. It's in the foothills of Mount Fuji, and it looks like they're talking a little bit more about the Arene software, Arene. Toyota Europe's market share has increased to a record 7.3% in 2022, almost a full percentage point higher year over year, and it is the second best-selling car brand in Europe. And I think the Hyundai group is right behind them as well, as they continue to grow in Europe. Now, if you want to read all about the carbon neutrality by 2040, Toyota's plans, I'll put the link in the description. Doesn't excite me that much, so we're going to keep moving to the more juicy bits. Now, we talked about sales a little bit for Toyota Europe. They are planning to sell a total of 1.1 million vehicles in Europe in 2022. So let's read more about Woven Planet's Arine or Arene software first. The creation of new mobility technology provides the core DNA of Toyota's mobility products and services with the design of software architecture before developing the hardware. Notably, Woven Planet's Arine software platform will provide the foundation for implementing Toyota's software-defined architecture. Interesting. Like TNGA or Toyota's next generation architecture. This is SDA, software defined architecture. And last but not least, let's talk about Lexus, because in Europe, as well as China and the United States and North America in general, Lexus will be fully battery electric in theory by 2030. So things got to change a lot quicker for the Lexus end than they do for Toyota. So let's read into what they're going to be doing here. Reading about the RZ450e battery electric vehicle SUV that we don't know when it's going to arrive, but they're saying it has segment leading efficiency of 16.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers and achieves a driving range of 440 kilometers. 71.4 kilowatt hour batteries expect to retain 90% of its capacity after 10 years of use. It also has the new Direct 4 all-wheel drive force control. Now, Lexus doesn't just want EVs, they want their vehicles also to be enjoyable to drive. But we got some information here on the Lexus Electrified Sport. Let's look at the images. These are all new images of the Electrified Sport here. This thing is just, I think it's beautiful. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? This vehicle's been out, I guess, for about a year now, at least the overall design. And I think it's absolutely stunning. And I know it's just a concept, but by the time this vehicle comes out, and if it can look like this, it's going to need batteries that are solid state. And I just don't want to get too excited because that is like the holy grail of batteries, right? It's hard to get there. So the Electrified Sport from Lexus can go 0 to 60 in around 2 seconds or less, which we knew from last December. So no new information there that I know of. Let's read about superior battery design. I want to see if there's anything new in here. First paragraph talks about the RZ. We already talked about that earlier. They talk about the bipolar nickel metal hydride battery that has increased output over the old nickel metal hydrides by 70%. I don't think anyone else on the market is using a bipolar nickel metal hydride in any of their hybrids, so that's pretty cool, I guess. And in theory, that should help keep the cost down. The prices of lithium have spiked in the past year or so. So Toyota has really good thermal management and design. That's why they can guarantee 90% after 10 years of use. My asterisk there is they might overprotect the battery, because if we looked at the range tests in Scandinavia recently, it's getting about half of its estimated range when it's fairly cold out. So 90% of its capacity after 10 years might be too good to be true at the expense of its usable capacity in the meantime. Now, this is catching my eye here. An EV powertrain with manual transmission. Let's dig in. Lexus investigated how a battery electric vehicle might be equipped with a manual transmission. Just weird that they're talking about this, because what was it, 2012 maybe, that Lexus had the last manual transmission, at least here in the United States, in its IS vehicles. So they're talking about putting a manual transmission in their electric vehicles. Okay, so I'm going to read on. I'm not going to judge it too hard yet. Okay, so this project has progressed to focus development using a research prototype based on the Lexus UX 300e, which we don't get here in America, but they just beefed it up for 2023. It's got more range than ever before. But that UX prototype has a gear lever with a clutch pedal. Lexus Electrified Chief Engineer Takashi Watanabe says, from the outside, the vehicle is as quiet as any other BEV, but the driver is able to experience all the sensations of a manual transmission vehicle. It is a software-based system, so it can be programmed to reproduce the driving experience of different vehicle types, letting the driver choose their preferred mapping. Until I can drive something like this, I'm really not getting that excited over it. There's still nothing much more satisfying when driving a manual transmission with an internal combustion engine in a car. I get Lexus trying to bring some flavor, giving the user the choice, or should I say the buyer the choice, in a potential BEV of the future, but I don't know. It might be wishful thinking. But I think the big takeaway on this press release is Toyota is growing in Europe, even though the market is down there and pretty much everywhere else in the world, thanks to the supply shortages. The new CHR should do really well in Europe, and I don't think we're going to get it here in the United States, so can't get too excited about that. That's just my gut feeling though. I wish we got something a little bit more tangible from the Lexus end. The RZ, we still don't know when that vehicle is going to be out, and it might suffer the same sort of fate as the BZ. I'm going to end it there. Make sure to stay tuned for more battery electric vehicle news, hybrid news, hydrogen news. That was cool to talk about that today as well. Subscribe to Kirky Cars and also my main channel where I'll cover the all new Prius in just a few days time. Catch you in the next video. Take care of yourselves and peace.